Hey guys, Script here with another video, and this kind of ties in with like the whole like where does Star Wars even go from here? And so Screen Rant's being optimistic in this article, so I thought I'd just give you my take on this. It's kind of interesting. So Star Wars has forgotten there's more to the sequel trilogy than just Palpatine's return. There are some truly dynamic elements from the sequel trilogy that Star Wars could explore with new projects. However, Lucasfilm seems committed to focusing almost solely on Palpatine's return in The Rise of Skywalker. Well, there's a reason for that, because there's no explanation, and so they're going to try and dupe us all into thinking this was planned. Well, it's likely an overcompensation for how little the former Emperor's resurrection was explained. Exactly. In the final movie of the Skywalker saga, there's so much that could and should be explored beyond his return. Let's find out if there is. Well, interesting, the execution of the Emperor's resurrection in The Rise of Skywalker was widely panned by audiences due to the lack of explanation or precedent, especially given the unfortunate line in the movie, somehow Palpatine returned. However, multiple pieces of Star Wars media, as I've been saying, they're going to do, this is what they do, they create a gigantic plot hole, they know it's bad, but then they say in the meeting, hey, but we'll just make content for the next 10 years for these dummies to buy so that, we can continue bringing in money. So that's basically why they allowed this to happen, because they thought, oh, well, then we'll just explain it for 10 years. Star Wars is setting up Palpatine's return, not much more. Multiple pieces of Star Wars media have worked to establish that Palpatine's resurrection plans were all part of his grand design, seeking to claim a form of immortality with the ability to transfer his essence into a viable Force-sensitive clone body upon his death. To that end, comics such as Marvel's ongoing and canonical Darth Vader series by Greg Pak and Raphael Ienco have established the existence of Palpatine's experiments on Exegol as well as his Sith Eternal cult during the events of the original trilogy, and the novel Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher set up Exegol as well, which is in my opinion, I've seen some of the panels, I've seen some of those pages. A lot of it just makes things kind of weird, because it's like Vader knew about what he was doing. Like, he was even there, he saw the Luke hand and all the stuff that they were using. And I'm actually curious to see when they're going to put that on screen. They're going to, Luke's hand is what we used for the Force-ness to go into the guy to make him make Snoke sensitive, or whatever they're going to do. He was found by a janitor on Cloud City. A janitor found his severed hand. And it's like, man, he must have found it pretty quick. Like, how long can a hand sit there and decay before somebody's like, let's just throw this thing out? I'm not gonna and the janitor picked it up and was like, we should save this hand. What is this? I don't know. The whole thing is so weird. It's so bizarre. And then what? So then he picked up the hand, he brought it to the Bespin police. Is that what happened? And then the Bespin police had to give it to the Empire guys or something. It's just so the whole thing's kind of weird, because if Vader knew what he was doing, but then he still killed him, even though he knew killing him wouldn't do anything. But it's just the whole thing is so weird. Palpatine's on Exegol as well, the Sith Eternal cult during the events of the original trilogy, and the novel Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher set up Exegol as well. Likewise, The Mandalorian Season 2 and 3 established that Grogu was valuable to the Imperial Remnant due to his blood and its high midichlorian count, meaning the Force-sensitive clones could be created via transfusions. To that end, both The Mandalorian and The Bad Batch have confirmed that Palpatine's necromancer was in place for years, with the mission to provide him with a sustainable clone body, a goal that took years to accomplish. Blah, 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 blah. 10 years of content just so you can, keep buying stuff to explain stuff that should have been explained in the movies. A Star Wars sequel trilogy isn't just about Palpatine. There's more. This is what I want to see what they're saying. More to be explored. Ooh, what could there be? While the New Republic era shows such as The Mandalorian and Ahsoka have shown more of the New Republic government in its struggle post-original trilogy, the New Republic was destroyed in The Force Awakens. As such, nothing from the sequels has been set up or explored to the same degree as Palpatine's return, which has come to define the era. Daisy Ridley is set to return as Rey in the new movie, and yet there's been next to nothing on screen nor on the page to help set up that return. Well, because they don't know what to do, you guys. They don't know what to do, right? Do we even have confirmation the script's done yet? I mean, apparently they're going to start filming, but there's been no confirmation the script is even done. So they're saying it's supposedly going to be done in April, and they're going to start shooting in the summer. But Kathleen Kennedy announced that they were going to do a movie, and the script wasn't even done. And then they blamed, it was because of the writer strikes. Was it though, or do you just not know what to do? You're non-committal and insecure like you have been this entire time, and that's why everything keeps shifting, and the sequels didn't have a plan, and because no one knows what they're doing. No one feels confident that what they're going to do is going to be acceptable to fans because they don't know what they're doing. And as far as the New Republic, listen, the fact that they didn't spend at least episode 7 showing us and establishing the New Republic and what was going on. I know they had a handful of scenes with Leia that would have helped with that for some unknown reason they decided to take out, which I don't understand why they would do that. Just so we could see more Rey superpower abilities, I guess. I don't know, but they took them out. But even those weren't enough. They didn't spend, and they didn't make the New Republic a thing. When I rewrote the sequels and I did my sequels reimagined, I showed the New Republic. I showed the capital. I showed what was going on, that it was well established. In the opening crawl, I give you a clear picture as to what the New Republic was at the time. But they didn't do any of that. And so to do it now, it's just another, we're going to spend the next 10 years showing you why the New Republic was what it was and was doing what it was doing and how the First Order rose. Here's 10 more years of content for you to purchase, instead of just doing something simply in the films, which would have been super easy to do, but for some reason they just didn't do it. I don't know what they were doing, whether they were just super excited to just, I don't get it. The whole thing is so weird. The fact that there's not a single scene that shows Leia with the New Republic or relating to it or anything like that is so bizarre to me. But it's done now, and I'm not going to spend money for 10 years trying to get the answers from you guys. So no, that's not interesting. As far as Daisy Ridley, again, they don't know what to do. Additionally, there were still big sequel trilogy mysteries such as Finn's backstory and future. It was done piss poor as well, and again, in my sequel rewrite, it's very obvious. There's some expository dialogue between him and Rey, and he tells his entire backstory, and blah, 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 blah. But as far as his future goes and his possible Force sensitivity, again, I feel like the ship has sailed. I don't know. I mean, I talked in my last video about how, my last video about the Rey movie, about how Finn's got to be, by the end of The Rise of Skywalker, he's got to be pushing 30-ish. And so we're going to start his Force journey there. Again, it's not that I'm against it, it's just kind of like, his ship has sailed, man. He's done. He is what he is. I don't see how this is going to work. So what this article is essentially saying is that between Rey and Finn, why isn't Star Wars doing more content in between the sequels and the Rey movie? Well, that's a good question. But I think the reason is because, again, they don't really know they don't have a plan for the future story, and they don't know what they're doing. And so they don't want to come out with something that's going to pigeonhole them in terms of their story for the Rey movie. So what they're going to do is they're going to do what they always do. They're going to come out with the Rey movie. The Rey movie is going to leave a bunch of questions, and then they're going to make prequel content, recurring content, like they're doing now for Palpatine, to explain the plot holes in the Rey movie. If they explain it beforehand, then they have to follow the lore and follow the rules they've set in place, which they're not into doing. They like to just put stuff out there and then explain it later so that you buy more things. And that's basically what they're doing here. So this shouldn't surprise the author of this article. I guess they never thought of it that way, maybe. Is possible Force sensitivity as well as the First Order Stormtroopers brainwashing program at large. Furthermore, Lando Calrissian's daughter is still... Why do we need to see the Stormtrooper brainwashing program? This is the thing with the expanded Disney Star Wars content. It's like, yeah, they brainwashed them. I can visually in my head see them brainwashing stormtroopers. I don't need a whole television show to show me how they were brainwashed. I get it. They were brainwashed. It's pretty obvious. Either they were brainwashed or they're doing it because they're poor and they need to get paid or whatever. But I don't need a show to show me that. It's pretty obvious. And that's the whole thing. There's no nuance in Star Wars anymore. Every detail has to be explained perfectly, but then details that matter in movies they don't explain, and then they make you buy content for 10 years. It's so backwards. It's so weird. So Lando Calrissian's daughter is still missing post Rise of Skywalker. What do you mean by that? There is nothing post Rise of Skywalker. What do you even mean by that? She's missing. Again, okay, give it a shot. Do a show about Lando Calrissian's daughter. See if anyone watches it. Whether it's our heroes, events, or villains, we can only hope the new Star Wars project will share some of the sequel trilogy spotlight in the future, rather than continuing to focus primarily on Palpatine's return. But that's the thing, Guy. They have to. Kevin Erdman. They don't have anything else to do. Nothing else would bring them any revenue. That's the thing that they've done, is they've focused so much on George's part of the timeline. Like many people said, do something way off into the future that doesn't involve that. But they did, and they wrote poor movies. And so now they're desperate and they don't know what to do. And doing a show, like I said, about Lando's daughter probably isn't going to make any money. Ahsoka barely sort of did what Andor did, so it's kind of like a barely money-making show, barely, and that's Ahsoka. So they have to use OT characters constantly. That's why Vader's just in everything. That's oversaturate with Vader, despite the fact that in the OT less is more. What did he get? 40 minutes of screen time, 35 minutes of screen time, and he was the most iconic villain of all time. But they don't care. They need him because their stories are garbage. They had to throw him into Kenobi because they couldn't think of anything else to do. They have to just continuously reference Palpatine and have Palpatine because he's an OT character that's beloved. So just saturate it with OT stuff because that's literally all they have. They don't have the ability to create anything new that's compelling. The reason those people are in the writer's room is due to friendship and nepotism, not due to talent and ability and understanding Star Wars lore. And if you don't understand that yet as the viewer, I don't know what to tell you. It's basically as obvious as, and it's so obvious. They clearly don't have creativity. So all they can do is, again, just keep rehashing OT stuff. Oh no, Book of Boba Fett's kind of crappy. Quick, throw those first 2 episodes of Mando we already shot in so that people watch it. And then there's Luke, and it's nostalgia. Even though we did Luke wrong, make Grogu choose, even though attachments were good for Luke. Like, they don't know what to do other than just OT characters because they can't write, guys. They can't write Star Wars. And what's funny is that Star Wars to me was always a fairly simple thing to write. It didn't ever occur to me that it was difficult, but for these people it is. And again, it's because they're not talent. They're just nepotism. They're just buddies, friends of friends, people that are comrades in the fight, or people that are allies, right? Comrades, allies in whatever agenda that they want. That's who they hire. It has nothing to do with talent. So all that to say, what do you think, guys? Do you want any of these other things? Do you want some in-between sequel and Rey movie Finn stuff or Lando's daughter stuff? Are you happy with what they do with Palpatine? I'm not. I've ranted about it enough. I'm not just going to keep going on about it. But, do you think that, it's pretty obvious why? Let me know in the comment section what you think. As usual, guys, if you like this content, please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel. And feel free to check out any other content on my channel. And have yourselves a really good day.